The parents of an 18-year-old from New Brunswick have a warning for teens and their parents about the dangers of games involving alcohol. Brady Grattan died earlier this month at a hospital in Alberta after playing a version of a game called beer pong. Now, typically the game involves getting the other team drunk by tossing ping pong balls into their cups filled with beer. So the ball goes in, the team drinks. His parents learned that at some point the game their son was playing involved hard liquor. Brady Grattan moved to Grand Prairie just last July to become a welder. Brady's father, Cory Grattan, joins us now from Fredericton. Cory, first of all, thanks very much for joining us. I can only imagine this is not an easy conversation for you to have, but I know you feel it's important. So if we can, let's begin with the night you got the phone call telling you that your son was in trouble.
Thank you for having me on, and you're right, this is really hard. I got the phone call, it was actually early in the morning, about 4 a.m., and my mother-in-law called me, and I kind of knew in my spirit before I even answered the phone, that phone call, that time of the morning, something's not good. And when I heard her voice, I sort of knew when she said Brady, it was just like, okay, no, don't tell me this, don't tell me this. And what she was saying on the other end of the line was, it's Brady, he's in the hospital and you need to get here. And that's the phone call that no parent wants to ever receive. That's the nightmare call. And that call came to me. It was a reality.
What did you learn that night and in the days beyond that about what had happened to him that night?
Well, what I had understood was that he had gone to a party. He had left at about 10:30 to go to this party, and he began consuming hard liquor, playing this game. And Brady, he's very competitive. Everything he has to do, he's very competitive. And he started consuming this hard liquor, and within two and a half hours, he was actually in ICU. What had happened was a picture was posted to social media of him falling into a flat screen TV, and later they took him downstairs and put him in a rubber dinghy. I would imagine because he was probably going to get sick, they figured, and less mess if they put him downstairs in a rubber dinghy. And from what I know, they just left him there. And it's really hard because I'm wondering what were these guys thinking, just leaving a young fellow like that in the basement and not checking on him. Next thing you know, this picture was posted to social media. The friend came over, he came in the door, he's like, "Where's Brady?" And they said, "Oh, he's downstairs." He went down, he turned him over, his lips were blue, he called 911, and 911 came. It was about a block away from the hospital of this accident, and they revived him. He flatlined again on the way to the hospital and ended up in ICU, all in a matter of about 2.5 to 2 hours, 45 minutes.
Your son was 18. Did he have much experience with alcohol?
Not that I know of. I did catch him intoxicated on July the 1st here in Fredericton. I hauled him home, poured out his alcohol, gave him a lecture. He was 18, it was underage. Made him sober up, made him feel foolish basically, taught him the dangers. Like I just would explain to him, like, this is not cool, Braid, you know. And, you know, I thought he learned a lesson from it. And then he was moving to Alberta a couple weeks later. Now, Alberta has a drinking age of 18. Here in New Brunswick, it's 19. So when he ended up in Alberta, he was an adult. He was legal to do pretty much anything he wanted. He could stop and buy liquor. He could drink it legally. He could go to the bars, do all of that stuff. So, yeah, it was kind of, you know, I think what he was doing was spreading his wings. And it's not like he wasn't doing anything I didn't do when I was a young fella, but he got caught up in the game, that's for sure. I don't think he realized what he was actually doing.
And as I listen to you, I get the sense that perhaps everyone he was with that night, none of them really understood what they were doing, you know, using hard liquor instead of beer, for instance, obviously would increase the amount of alcohol you're taking in, and then not understanding the risk to him when he was clearly not able to care for himself anymore. As I said, I mean, I can only imagine, as anyone listening, that this is tough. But you're talking to us because I know you want to share this story. What is it you want people to know, parents and their kids?
I just want them to know that these kids are out there doing this. Like, it's too common. When I was in the hospital, I figured, like in the ICU, I figured maybe I'm 1 in 1,000, maybe 1 in 10,000 cases of this happening. And I asked the ICU nurse, I said, can you tell me, is this common? And she just hung her head down and she says, it's too common. And from there, my heart just sunk. I was like, oh my goodness. And I would just like to get the message out there to other parents, like, you don't want to get that call. Kids are playing these games. They're playing them on UMB campuses. They're playing them in high schools. They're playing them in basements. It's a reality. And I don't want other parents to have to go through what we're going through. This is very hard. I know if Brady was standing here right now, he'd be telling you guys that this was stupid and don't do what I did.
Mr. Grattan, thank you so much, and our condolences to you and your family.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Cory Grattan spoke to us from Fredericton.